Good morning, everyone. My name is Stephen Pickard, and I'm the band and orchestra teacher here at Rogers High School. And for one of your homeroom lessons today, it's my pleasure to talk to you about time management. Now, time management may not be the most exciting subject to be presented with, but in the situation we're in with distance learning, being at home, trying to be a student, and many of the other things that we have to do during our day-to-day lives, it can be really difficult to try to keep up with everything. And so by presenting you with some opportunities, some tools to be able to manage your time and lay something out concrete for you to follow, I'm hoping that you should be able to gain some of your time back by losing wasted time, as well as provide you with some study habits and tricks to just make the most of your time every day. So I have three main goals today. The first being the one in the middle, the primary goal here of learning about time management planning and how to set yourself up for success. Beyond that, though, the other two goals help build into that time management. We need to learn a little bit about ourselves and how the brain works, and we'll also discuss some study habits as well. So when it comes to trying to manage our time better, we have to start by being honest with ourselves. We are the only ones that truly know what our strengths and our weaknesses are with time. So I'd like you to take a second to ask yourself some of the following questions. When it comes to studying or time management, am I proactive, meaning am I a planner, or am I reactive, as being a procrastinator? Many of us do our best work at the 11th hour, the 59th minute of the 59th second, but it's also a very stressful way to work, and we don't always retain as much as we could. Many of you have had that quiz to study for that you've stayed up until 2 a.m. and you've just like, well, I bombed that, great, and we kind of shrug it off. But that's not a way that we should take pride in how we do things. So hopefully with some time management help here, we won't ever have to say that again, or at least we say it very infrequently. When it comes to time management or studying, can I sit still and focus for long periods of time, or am I fidgety? Do I need to be up and moving? Either one is healthy. It's fine. Does background noise or music help, or am I easily distracted? Now, I told you I'm the band and orchestra teacher. When I was in high school, I remember trying to listen to the radio to study, and it never worked. I would get too distracted. But I finally found some things that would work for me to help keep me on track and allow my brain to focus. Do I work well in a study group, or is solo best? Okay, we'll talk about some of those other things later, but take a few seconds here to think about, what do I do that's really helpful and I know is successful for me to study, or what do I know I should be doing to be able to study effectively and manage my time? So the time management document that we're going to look at is a pretty simple spreadsheet from Excel. And this is something that I got as a freshman in college. I was at Edmonds Community College working 35 plus hours a week, and I was overloaded with 22 credits and was just not managing my time well. I didn't know how to get everything done. And so one of my most influential teachers and educators, Kirk Marcy, sat me down after I reached out to him for some help, and I was not expecting what he was going to share with me. The document that he walked me through is exactly the same, or at least I think it is exactly the same as what he walked me through that day. We started by tracking activities and routines, what some of our most concrete basic things were. We also found that it could allow for time for relaxing, socializing, gaming, chores, etc., things that I wanted to do, things I needed to do. It helped me let family and friends know that, hey, you know what? This is my schedule. Here's when I'm available. Here's when I'm not available. I can make this work, and maybe we can do something different. It really will help cut down on wasted time throughout the day. If you try to do all your homework in 1 2.5 3 hour chunk of time, you know it's going to not be quality work. You're going to be frustrated. You're going to be exhausted, and you may not even get everything done. So we're going to talk about some strategies with that too, and how we plan that out. And it may also allow for more time to sleep. So next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through some of the steps to fill things out, and then I'm going to show you a couple of examples of things that I have pre-filled or that I can manipulate for you. So at the very beginning, we need to start with what we know. What is our concrete stuff that's either not going to change or will have very little change? First and foremost, your school schedule. Our school schedule is going to be the same for the near future, or if we don't know of any changes to come for now. So we start by putting in our synchronous and our asynchronous learning time. Some of you work jobs, or you might be involved with athletics. Some of you have family responsibilities, helping with certain chores around the house, meal prep, making food for your younger siblings, or prepping food for your parents if they work a late shift, helping your siblings with school. Those are all things that we should try to implement time in right away. After that, we should think about, what does your morning routine look like? I would say start with the time that you wake up, the actual time you get out of bed, not after hitting snooze 9,000 times. We'll talk about that as well. And then I would think about, what do you want to do with your morning routine? Some of you, it might just be, I get up, I shower, I eat, and I'm good. Some of you might be, I get up, I do school. I might want to challenge you to think about doing that differently, because you may not have enough time to wake up. I would think about everything you want to do, how long it might take you, and then work backwards to then find the time you need to get up. I myself just figured out my new morning routine and found out that to be ready to teach by 9 a.m., to have my prep time from 7 to 9, which is what I try to do for myself. I want to have some time to work out, to make a healthy meal, and to also play my instruments to keep up with my music. I need to get up at 5 a.m. Knowing everything that I want to do and how much time it's going to take helped me come up with a concrete idea of when I need to get up. The last part is where we can have some real flexibility and also create some unique things. Planning for the afternoon, we should always think about homework and how much homework you have. We're going to kind of go off of a basis in general that you might have anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours of some kind of homework or studying each night. Some of you might think, no, I have way more than that. We can account for that. Some of you might go, I have barely any of that. Then that's fantastic. Then you should really get the most out of getting this much time back. Many studies show that the human brain can really focus and retain information when focused on something for 15 to 20 minutes. That means if you have an hour and a half of homework to do, we should be taking breaks in between those times. So what you might want to think about doing is, if you have an hour and a half of homework, you set up a 2-hour block where you work for 15 to 20 minutes and you have a 5 to 10 minute break. You then go on to the next thing, et cetera, et cetera. Some of your teachers are not expecting you to be either present or have required work for you doing your asynchronous time. That's a perfect time to get some of that work done already. So I would make sure that you consider that in your planning. Sometimes in those breaks, they can be, like I'm showing you here in the PowerPoint, gaming. Some of you can get some chores done in between some of that time. I myself, when I am taking a break from something, I will go and do some dishes, or I will make the bed, or I'll vacuum something, just so that I'm not doing all of it at one time. I might also go and get something ready for dinner. Many of us tend to poo-poo taking power naps. I just can't do it. I would ask you to consider trying it, because you might find that it is something you can do. You may not fall asleep, but even just the act of resting for 15 to 20 minutes can do wonders for yourself. Okay. So the end result of this, you should have a far better use of your time. You should be completing your work more and turning it in on time, rather than asking for extensions or waiting for that Puyallup School District 15-day extension to get something in before it's marked as missing. You should be able to improve your grades, and you should have more time available to yourself. Lastly, a sense of pride and accomplishment in being able to check off the boxes and then relax for the remainder of your day. Let's move over to looking at some of these options here. I'm going to cut this out so that you can kind of see a basic template here. So what I have here are the concrete elements, periods 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the quote marks here are what I use to show that it's going to be an hour. Now you're noticing here that I have some odd times. This is based on just creating some specifics for different times. So we see we have our concrete information in. I'm going to undo that cut, but I'm going to delete this here. So I put in, okay, you know what? Maybe I need a couple of hours to wake up, shower and get dressed, have 30 minutes for breakfast, and then I might spend the next hour checking for updates on Schoology from my teachers, reviewing my work for the day, making sure I'd followed all the instructions, and then you're ready to start your class period. If that schedule looks good for you, the beautiful thing about typing all of this in is you highlight the box, wait for the black plus sign to come up, drag across for that Tuesday through Friday. Now your Monday might be the same thing, but you might have it later before homeroom. The afternoon is where we see things are a little bit differently. So I'm going to jump over to my next thing here, okay? Now I have a schedule here for somebody that might be in athletics, and so they might have a workout routine on their own, but they might also have responsibilities with their family. So you see here that at 6 a.m. they're going to wake up. They put in a 40 or so, 30 minutes or so workout. Then they have showers, getting dressed, helping get siblings up, make breakfast. And that may take an hour to be able to help them out. And then you can take the next hour or so to do homework check, school prep, prepare siblings for school. So if I was working on this with you one-on-one, we would be typing this in individually. So this is kind of the Reader's Digest Cliff Notes version of this. Now, if I jump to the afternoon, you're going to see that I have just a very basic idea of what one day might look like for athletics. Some of you that might be meeting at the school are coming here from 3 to 5. One thing that you should consider putting in is drive time. How long does it take you to get to and from school or somewhere? Okay, now let's assume that you are meeting for 2 hours with whatever you are involved with. And then after that, you take 15 minutes to get home, another 15 minutes to shower after practice if you need to, get something to eat to recharge. And then here's where we have our homework chunk set up. You can see I set things up in 20-minute homework chunks and a 10-minute break. We'll talk about what to do in those breaks in just a little bit. But again, if you have maybe an hour and a half of homework, if we set this up to have breaks in between, this is going to allow for you to hopefully not get distracted while you're doing your homework. That 15 to 20-minute chunk of time is just you focusing on that work, and then you can allow yourself to have a break. And then you're done by 8 o'clock. Beautiful thing is that you might be somebody who you have an online gaming cohort. And so let's just put online gaming. And you might do that for an hour. You might say, get ready for bed. And then at 9:30, lights out. Let's assume that this is just going to go over for the next few days. And then your Friday might be something different. I would also consider trying to have some homework time here, which is how option number 3 might look. Now we're back to a little bit of a different schedule, still getting up at what looks like 6 o'clock. But for this person, we have a work schedule in place. And so we have, what I decided to put in here for you was a little bit more time to get ready for class, study, etc. Because let's face it, late night studying just doesn't work. Some of you might disagree with me, but hear me out and try this, okay? I also have things for those of you that might be in band, orchestra, choir, guitar, and any other art sort of classes. You should have some time to practice. So what I'm looking at here is that if you're able to stick around for office hours, you start doing homework at 2:30, if that's the earliest you can do that. I have a 20-minute time chunk here for that, and a 5-minute practice chunk, and then a 5-minute break. Rinse, lather, repeat. Now, just again, throwing in some kind of social thing, here's a half an hour of some kind of gaming or break time. And then if you work a few hours a week, here's an example schedule. Get ready for work, 15 minutes. Drive to work, 15 minutes. You work your shift. And then here I've left you the time to do whatever you need to. Plan this out, though, so that you have something here. So the beautiful thing about this schedule is that, yeah, you might have 4 hours of work time in the evening, but if you utilize your time the right way, then you should be able to accomplish most of the work in the morning and in the early afternoon, go to work, and be able to come home and not have too late of an evening. You can see here that I have this time blank. You can use this for any final studying, some relaxing, whatever. But then having this lights out by about 10 o'clock, getting up at 6 allows you 8 hours of sleep, which is fantastic. Okay. So I hope that you've found one of these options has allowed you the opportunity to see how you can structure your time, kind of what I'm going over with the process of breaking up homework into smaller, more manageable chunks so that you're able to focus fully during those times, allow your brain to have some breaks, and to, in all actuality, get more done in less amount of time. To go back here, sorry. I have a few comments when it comes to study tricks and to be able to set yourself up to use that 20 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever you set it up for, to be most successful. First and foremost, stay organized. Many of us are very good at being organized, keeping separate notebooks for classes. Some of us love Post-its. I'm a huge Post-it fan, colored pencils for things, shared notes with other people, what have you. Make sure that you know you can find everything for the work you're about to do. When it comes to studying, I would highly encourage you to engage in airplane mode so that when you are focusing during that time, you're able to not have a bunch of notifications be plugging, or not be plugging, but be slamming your phone or be popping up on your web browser, whatever, so that you're constantly being distracted. You're not going to be focused if that thing just keeps popping up. When you go on your break, take it off airplane mode and then let all the notifications flood in. Take that 10 minutes to respond to people, to reach out, maybe to just say, hey, how's it going? Put it back on airplane mode. Now, obviously, if you are somebody that needs to be on call for a family member, then we should find other ways to do that. You should still be able to have phone calls or things come in via Wi-Fi. If you have airplane mode, you can still turn on Wi-Fi on most devices. Timers. The only way this really works is if you set timers. Now, you can ask Siri to do that. You can use whatever device you have to set a timer. If you have a Google device or what have you at home, I use those all the time to keep track of my time. Having a timer also kind of helps put the heat on just a little bit when you're studying. Just a little bit of all right, I've got this time. I know I have 20 minutes and I'm going to make the most I can. It's almost like a competition. I often try to race my 3-year-old son to see okay, hey, I'm going to take this bite before you get it in. We think it's a competition. He doesn't know I'm just playing a game and trying to trick him into eating. Same thing. You're tricking your brain by having a timer set to be a little bit more focused and not no, it's okay. I have time. I can get this done. When it comes to music or background noise, sometimes it can be helpful. I would encourage you, if you're not certain if your brain's going to work that well, check out something on YouTube called Chill Hop. Maybe some of you are familiar with this. I use Chill Hop all the time. It's easy, light background music. Doesn't really have any lyrics to it. There might be some vocals, but it's mostly just sounds. Really cool, easy beats. Give them a try. They have dozens, if not hundreds of pages of different things to listen to and to try. You might check out white noise. I'll share a playlist with you if you're curious about it. I have an office and studies sound playlist where I have rain or river sounds or wind or ocean waves crashing. It might sound kind of ridiculous, but don't knock it until you try it. For me, it helps ease my brain so that I am able to stay on task. I would also encourage you to try having study groups. Now, while it's not best to be meeting in person in certain situations, we have Teams, we have Zoom, we have Facebook Messenger meetings that we can go in. Some of you might use Google Duo. It doesn't matter what you use. If you're going to have a study group, keep in mind that a group that's too large will most likely not be productive. Around 4 people, I think, is best. And then make sure that you reach out to people that you know will build you up, keep you honest, and help you learn. You all know who the right people to ask are, and maybe who's not best to ask. If you're intimidated by somebody that maybe you don't know very well, but you know that they are going to be somebody that will really help you, reach out to them. They may be flattered that you are looking to them for some additional help. Make a new connection. This is about everybody learning together, okay? And then lastly, make sure you're taking effective notes during class. I have been using Microsoft OneNote with my students on and off, and I feel that it's been very effective. Some of you might be utilizing some Avid strategies, whether you're with Miss Pancake in an Avid class or you have a teacher that is endorsed and utilizes Avid strategies. Taking notes in the Avid style, I think, can be very helpful, but it's definitely a to each their own. I would consider utilizing the Microsoft OneNote to take notes too, because you can dictate. There's a dictate function in there that you can utilize that's very, very helpful. I, for one, love to talk out loud to myself. I feel like I'm able to process my ideas far better that way than sitting and just typing. A few reminders when you study. Stay hydrated. I myself should have had some water for this, and I'm getting a little cotton mouth. Hopefully you can't hear that. Have healthy snacks on hand. I know that we'd all rather eat the leftover Halloween candy we have. Have that during a break, but maybe have some of those veggie straws around if you need a little salt in your diet. Have some cheese and meat snacks if you aren't vegan or vegetarian. Make kale chips. Try something. I, for one, that might sound really random and you're probably laughing at me now, but I've made homemade kale chips and they're fantastic. It's a great snack. Be honest with yourself. Let's move away from kale chips. Be honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses. Only you know how you're best going to work. And you have to keep in mind how you're going to keep yourself honest while you're studying. Okay. Also remember that it is a working document. It can be edited, and we worked to best fit your needs. Continuing down this list of reminders, if you have too much to do and not enough time, seek help from a teacher you trust, a counselor you trust, or an administrator that you trust. Depending on the week, it might need to change. Some of you may need to work and get some more hours in your schedule. That might mean that your homework time is reduced. Reach out for help. We are all here to help you be the most successful you can be during this time. And we would say the same thing if we were in person like any normal year. You just have to ask, be responsible for your education, okay? Speaking of, take pride in your work and your education. Strive to find an interest in each subject so it is easier to study and participate in. Countless students say that they are frustrated in math or science, whatever, and I know that math teachers hear that all the time. If you're unfamiliar with something, ask how to do it better. And you might find when you find success that you're more eager to be engaged with the work. If you struggle with it, take notes and ask the teacher. If you're not interested in the subject, push yourself to be interested in something about it, because you will manipulate your brain into going, oh yeah, that's right, I find this interesting. Oh, okay, cool. Find something that subject may be applicable to outside of this. Be open-minded with the content, and again, ask teachers for help and advice. To wrap this presentation up, you guys may have more additional feedback for myself or for your peers. So if you have something that works well for yourself and you want to add it to a list, there's going to be a link that's going to come out to you. And I'm hopeful that you can share study habits or different suggestions on this time management table. There will be a link posted in homeroom for you to be able to share those ideas. And we may even recommend having a discussion about that in your homeroom. I apologize if this went a little too long or if I lost any of you, but this is something I'm passionate about. I hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something about yourself in this. If you ever have any questions or you want to reach out to me for some help, I would be more than happy to do this one-on-one with you and come up with something that is unique and specific to you. So please reach out if you have any questions. There will also be a PDF where there will be some of these things in a condensed nature. So thank you for taking the time for watching this, and good luck with your time management table.